All right, everybody. I'm here with our first ever player spotlight going low on the fan. I'm Paul Nussbaum. I'm joined by two stellar Pittsburgh golfers, Palmer Jackson from Franklin Regional and Rocco Salvitti from Central Catholic. Both are Notre Dame Fighting Irish members of the golf team. Palmer Jackson just finished his career at Notre Dame at the national championship last week. And Rocco just finished his freshman year at the national championship last week. Both big time players. Really happy to have you guys. Thank you for joining us.
Yeah, thank you.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah, and again, everything is sponsored by Power Bowser Monroeville, Bell's Oberon Ale. It is the beer to drink when you're on the course. All right, guys, thank you for joining us. Like I said, I just want to kind of keep this super light, and the goal of this is to grow the brand of golf here in Pittsburgh, and you two are a big headway of that, in my opinion. And Palmer, we'll start with you. Obviously, incredible career at Notre Dame. Congratulations on that, my man.
Appreciate it.
I've read that your finish last week was the highest finish ever by a Fighting Irish player at the national championship. That's quite some feat, and just want to congratulate you on an incredible career.
Appreciate it. Thanks for that.
Yeah, absolutely. And Rocco, you're kind of on the other spectrum. Just started your career freshman year. Obviously, tremendous results, as we'll get into here in a minute. Quite a few tied for sevens, top 25s. So awesome job in your freshman year, man.
Yeah, thank you.
Appreciate it. All right, guys, we're all local here. I talked to you guys a little bit before this call. What our goal here is to really shine spotlights on Pittsburgh golfers and grow the game here in the city of Pittsburgh and follow you guys as you continue your careers to the pro level. So let's go back a little bit. Let's go back to Franklin Regional days and Central Catholic days. I know, Palmer, that was a little longer for you, and then Rocco, that wasn't too far along the way from you. So, Palmer, I'll start with you if you don't mind. Going back to Franklin Regional days, can you kind of walk us through your time in high school and what that means as a high school golfer, and what that means in the summer getting seen by coaches?
Yeah, I remember coming in as a freshman, and we had some, at the time, juniors that were pretty good players. So they were 2 years older than me. And I went to tryouts my freshman year, and I was a good player, but I was pretty nervous. I wanted to show that I was, one of the good guys, one of the better players. Fortunately, played pretty well. And then my freshman year, we had a nice solid team. I think I might have made it to states as an individual. And then I played baseball and golf all through high school. So it was kind of the balance of spending time on the field and then spending time on the course. And the spring was particularly difficult for that, but I wouldn't trade it for anything because it gives you your kind of competitive drive and you understand how a team works. Mm-hmm. So I'm very appreciative to have played, two sports through high school.
Yeah, you're gonna have to give me some pointers after this. I was the baseball guy, and it really screwed up my golf swing. So, what was the hardest? You seem to have figured that out pretty good. How did you manage that?
Well, I just stopped hitting. I was a pitcher only.
Okay, that was the key. I guess I should have figured that one out earlier. Big slice to start for me. Mm-hmm. But no, that's awesome, man. And what would you say is, Rocco? Feel free to jump in on this one as well. But someone like me, I'm curious about recruiting when it comes to golf in high school. Obviously, you have your season with the high school team, but I know a big part of getting seen is your summer and getting out there and traveling for tournaments. Can you kind of attest to that and what that experience was like?
Take it, Paul.
Yeah, I can go ahead. It was a lot longer ago for me than it was for Rocco, but yeah. I thought it was just about, getting exposure to these coaches, putting yourself in a position where if you played well, the coaches would notice you. And that starts on the local level. You play in the West Penn golf stuff, and they do a great job promoting their junior golfers. Yeah. And then from there, you hope to play in some national events where the coaches are typically all going to look at recruits, and you work hard enough and you give yourself a chance, then they're going to see you and take notice.
Yeah, I agree with everything Palmer said. I think that the West Penn Golf Association and PA Golf Association are very highly respected. So these college coaches obviously know, and they come and watch those events, but in order to really be seen, you have to get out on the national level, which those events kind of help you do that with the PA Golf Association, like the junior events. If you place highly in those, you can get some AJGA stars and AJGA status. And then from there, you can play in those national events, which have more exposure per se than just the PA local events. And I think a big thing about it is too is like high school golf in PA is until you get to the state level, I would say not quite as big as like per se Texas or
Sure.
Florida high school golf, but it's definitely still very competitive and there's some very good players in Pennsylvania in a way.
It's
I
it's
think we
kind of
need to
like
do
the
a
main.
better I think we need to do a better job growing the game at a younger age
Yeah.
in Pittsburgh. I think there's definitely a need for it. Like you can kind of tell it kind of goes in waves. Um,
Okay.
I feel like in a couple years there's going to be far more junior golfers than there are right now that are just a couple years younger than me because of COVID. A lot of
Sure.
people picked it up during that time. But we'll see how that goes.
To add to that, um, that last point right there, when I first joined Hannistown, maybe 10 years ago, I was one of the only, there were only a couple of us that were good junior players, I would say. Maybe a
Okay.
dozen, maybe a couple more. When I'm out there now, I see dozens of these junior kids out there playing, and it's just so cool because you see the numbers growing and you see more kids playing, and that just means that we're going to have more exposure as West Penn golfers.
Yeah.
The kids are going to have more opportunity. But to go back to what Rocco said about what can we do in Pittsburgh, I honestly think Pittsburgh's a great place to grow up for golf because you're not playing year round. Some of
Okay.
these kids that play year round, sure, you might be really good at a young age, but you've played so much golf already that once you get to college, some people are burnt out, some people are
Right.
just tired of it. And growing up in an area where there are true seasons, like if you want to be a golfer, you have to want it. Like you have to go out there in the winter and play when it's 35 degrees.
Right.
Those guys down south, when it's 70 degrees, it's easy to go practice. So
Yeah.
I think there's an element of that too.
I think it's important for people like Palmer and I to show that like how much fun we have with golf.
Yeah.
Um,
Mhm.
I think it's starting to be better known, but like I mean, I feel like as a kid you kind of go towards playing baseball, soccer,
Yeah.
other things like that. But I mean, without golf, I think it gives you great connections. It's obviously a great sport, but in the Pittsburgh area, golf's pretty high up on everybody's list, or at least it should be.
Yeah, no, and it's continued to grow, which is great. And Rocco, you touched on it. Me as a sales guy and business person, golf not only is a fun sport to play, but the people you meet on the golf course, when I get paired up with two other guys with my buddy, I have numbers on my phone, the guys that I hang out with now that, the connections you make on the course, the things you learn at a young age with etiquette. I mean, there's so many pluses besides just the game, which we all know is very hard for the normal golfer. And even you guys, I mean, it's a hard game.
Yeah.
So it's a lot more than just the game, like you said, Rocco, which is awesome. I think that's what makes it the best game in the world, in my opinion. Um, all right, guys, I'm not going to take too much more of your time. I want to get into college, though, if you don't mind. Obviously Notre Dame, I have a close tie to the school. My uncle went there. He still lives there. His kids all went there. I'm a big Irish fan, so go Irish. You guys, Palmer, tremendous career. I've already mentioned this. Congratulations.
Nice.
What was that like, Palmer, from day one for you at Notre Dame, from day one till now? I'm sure there's been tremendous growth. Can you kind of walk us through that?
Yeah, I would say the biggest thing I learned, and this would maybe go back to high school too, but especially in college, is over your time playing on the team, like it's not going to be a straight road to success.
Mm-hmm.
Came in as a freshman and I was hot. I was playing really well and had some good results my freshman year. And then you go to your sophomore year and you just expect it to happen.
Yeah.
And with golf, like there's going to be times where it just doesn't happen. You
Mm-hmm.
could be playing well, thinking you're doing all the right things, and the results just aren't there. So I would say just just understanding that that's part of golf, and you have
Yeah.
to really embrace when things aren't well because you have the option to just sit back and be like, "Oh, I'm not playing well. I'm not going to go play today," or "Man, I'm not playing well, but we're gonna get this right. Like,
Yeah.
we'll figure it out." So I feel like my 5 years kind of taught me that, and the coaches at Notre Dame were awesome to me.
Yeah.
I had some phenomenal teammates who cared about me as a player and a person, and that was just really important for my growth.
It's awesome stuff. And, you touched on it. Coach Hannigan seems like I mean, he obviously is a top name in the golf right now. And Was he there the whole and forgive me if I didn't know this right, but was he there the whole time with you, Palmer?
Yeah, I think his first or second recruit
Okay.
at Notre
Okay.
Dame. Yeah.
I knew I know he's been there for a little bit, but I didn't know if you had a different coach before. That's awesome.
Mhm.
Rocco, how was your freshman year?
It was great. Obviously I had really good leaders on the team to kind of bring me in, and not gonna lie, I was pretty nervous going into the
Oh,
year.
sure. Yeah.
It's a big change. I felt like I was ready for the college life.
Hmm.
Um, Obviously with college golf being a grind and kind of getting right into it, we started qualifying the day classes started. Um, so just kind of understanding what to expect. I was lucky enough to grow up with a lot of of older friends who had gone through the college golf process and recruiting and everything. So I
Yeah.
had a lot of people to look up to in that aspect. So I felt that I was ready. I was really happy to see Palmer coming back. So I didn't have to carry on the Pittsburgh legacy on my own. I had another year to learn off Palm. But but no, it was great. Just for me, it was just learning as much as I could from everybody on the team. I felt
Yeah.
like whether it was practice, playing, I just wanted to learn one thing from everybody. Um, whether that was new technique or just something little that I could put into my game or at least look at to see if it could fit my game. And more so as a person too. I felt like Notre Dame really does a great job with um, helping us all mature and in a way that we didn't necessarily do in high school. So like on a personal level with everybody there. I think the school's I mean, obviously the school's on a very high regard, but it's pretty cool to see like the community at Notre Dame and how everybody helps each other and everything. So
That's
it's
awesome,
definitely,
man.
yeah.
That's awesome. Did you know Palmer going into it? Do you guys have a connection before that? Palmer, did you help recruit him at all, or how did that look?
I knew Palmer a little bit. Obviously we talk a little bit in passing, but
Yeah.
uh, we were never very close. I always tell the story. My first time ever seeing Palmer, I was playing in the West Penn Junior at Wildwood, and I was on, I don't know, I was on a hole that was right next to his, and I saw a bunch of college golf coaches, and I was like, yeah, that has to be Palmer's group. Um, but that just goes to kind of show that the college coaches do come to the
Yeah.
West Penn and local events. But that was kind of my first time ever seeing Palmer, and then we played a couple times before college. But
Mhm.
Yeah. And then I'm gonna bring up this name just because he's a Pittsburgh guy too. I think his journey is pretty amazing just because he was someone that just grinded his butt off and no one really knew of him on the national level until he got hot lately. But Neil Shipley, um, obviously a Central Catholic guy. Rocco, have you dealt with Neil at all through Central or played with him? Palmer, same with you.
so I miss Neil at Central
Okay.
by a year.
Okay.
Obviously, he grew up in Mount Lebanon. I grew
Right.
up in Ensburg, so we played a bunch of golf together.
Nice.
I'm very good friends with his caddy that was at the Masters, Carter.
Yeah.
Uh, they're
Carter
both
Pitcairn.
members. Yeah, they're both members at St. Clair. So I've played a bunch of golf with Neil.
Cool.
Kind of always knew that he had a lot of game and um, he was gonna do well. So it was good to see what he did at the USAM last year, and then obviously at the
Yeah.
Masters. It was cool to watch.
Do you guys use sports psychologists or what's your thoughts on that? Do you guys use any type of psychology at Notre Dame?
So our coach kind of brings us to a sports psychologist every once a month, maybe.
Okay.
And we kind of just talk about some general stuff, but I definitely think I have used one in the past.
Hmm.
She actually left Notre Dame to go to another school.
Okay.
Um, I think there's a lot of opportunity for that to help you. It's not something you should ever shy away from
Hmm.
because in golf, like the mental game is just so important
Yeah.
that you just need to be out there and be in a good place and a lot of things you can talk about with someone can help.
Right.
Um, I've struggled at times. I'm sure Rocco struggled at times, and figuring it out on your own is a big part of it too, because when someone tells you the answer, it doesn't stay for as long.
Yeah.
But when you kind of figure it out on your own, it might mean more to you and stay for longer, I guess,
Sure.
become part of who you are. So there's a little bit of a balance there, but I think sports psychology is an area in golf that's kind of underappreciated.
It's awesome to see someone like Wyndham Clark now that there's a spotlight on it, someone as big as him win the US Open, mostly due to his sports psychology, he says, but obviously his game is incredible. Um, it's a really important piece in the world right now, and I wanted to touch on that. I think it's awesome.
To go
Yeah,
off, Rock, go ahead.
I haven't. I personally, I mean, I work with the one that our team goes to once a month.
Okay.
I'll be honest, I really haven't worked with anybody outside of that.
Yeah.
I have I've been fortunate to have some great mentors and just great friends back home who I will talk to
Yeah.
it's more consistently, I would say, um than I would with a psychologist. But I think it's great in the game.
Mhm.
Um, obviously for the mental side of things, our coach does a great job with us in our meetings, just making sure um, obviously everything's going well, but we touch on a lot more than just golf in those meetings.
Yeah.
Um, so that's all great. I think the mental side of golf, as important as it is, mental psychologies. I mean, as you can see with some of these players right now on tour,
Yeah.
unfortunately, Grayson Murray and stuff like that. But
Yeah.
golf's just so hard because you're out on your own.
Right.
So in the tough times where you feel like your game's great, and unfortunately, golf is so result oriented that the scores aren't there at times.
Yeah.
Palmer's been through it. I've been through it. Everybody goes through it at some point with adversity, and
Yeah.
uh, it's hard to handle it on your own. So it's definitely important to have people or psychologists on your side. And fortunately for us, they're becoming way more available than they
Good.
probably were 10 years ago.
Mhm.
So,
Yeah, to build off that, I think you see out on tour, like the higher up you go in golf, the more players use a psychologist or a sports psychologist or have somebody to talk to.
Hmm.
And then it kind of trickles down to college where you see more guys in college use one than you do in high school, whatever. There's
Yeah.
obviously more elements like different pressures and different things those guys are trying to balance than just the everyday player. But if
Hmm.
those guys are using help, then what does that mean for the average player? Like you should probably be doing what the guys on tour are doing too. It can't hurt.
Right.
So I know it's a big commitment and you don't want to make a bigger deal out of it than there should be. But
Yeah.
if the guys on top of the world are using somebody to help their mental game, then
Exactly.
I think that shows a lot.
Go
One
ahead.
one piece of advice that I would give to junior golfers
Yeah.
is find a group of buddies that you love playing with. And I know Rocco, you had this. I had this at Hannistown. I still have it. Just have a group of people that you love playing with, love hanging out with, because that's kind of your support system.
Yeah.
And you have a group of people that all love the same thing and just go out there and enjoy golf. Like
Yeah.
that does a lot for you.
yeah, I'm
That's
gonna
a
build on that. I'm gonna build on that too. I was about to touch up on the same topic. Is it's it's far more important to be playing with the right people than to be playing the I would rather play with a group of friends and a group of people that I look up to, or people that I enjoy playing golf with, than the best golf course. Like, no doubt about it. So I just think it's so important to have friends in golf, because I mean, doing it all on your own all the time, first of all, it won't prepare you for college golf
right.
because you're on the team, and I mean, being with all your friends is kind of like being on a golf team per se.
Yeah.
But I just think it's really important. And then one other thing with the psychology side of it is there's all the professionals that are working with the professional players and the guys out on tour. It's pretty cool how they all want to help the college golfers in the next generation. Um,
Mhm.
we have some guys that'll Zoom call us as a team and do stuff with us just because I mean, they obviously want us to work with them when we're on tour, but they want us to be prepared for when that life comes, because it comes at you super fast,
Yeah.
like Homer's about to talk about.
Yeah, no, that's great. And that's something that, I think that just attests to your program, right? You'd like to think every big program does that. It's an easy, low-hanging fruit, just get alumni that are going through it, or just pro golfers that are willing to help out because they've been there. So that's just a testament to your program. That's amazing that you guys are doing that. I think when you're a player, whether it's at any level, when you have guys that went through it and that are successful in the next level, even if it's high school, a college guy coming back and talking is incredible. So having that for you guys is, I'm sure it's amazing.
Mhm.
Palmer, we'll get into what's next for you, man. I know it's been a journey for you and a great journey. But the ceiling's super high for you. We're all excited for you. And, you know, I just believe that most people don't understand what it really takes to get to the PGA Tour, and nothing against anyone there. I just think that it's a quite a journey. There's a couple different avenues that you can make it through. I was familiar with it with working through the tour, and it opened my eyes to it. So, can you kind of talk about? Doesn't have to be your journey. Would love to hear what you're doing, but just kind of what it takes to make it to the PGA Tour, whether it's through PGA Canada or Americas or Corn Ferry. Can you kind of walk us through what's next for you?
Yeah. I think in a nutshell, it takes a lot of resiliency with whatever path you're going to take. But I'm headed out to California in like 3 or 4 days for a PGA Tour Americas qualifier. They
Nice,
already did the Latin America swing, so my goal is to qualify through there and then play in Canada for this summer.
nice.
Um, and then after that, the big thing is just Q school in the fall. That's one thing that stayed pretty consistent over the last couple decades is that you have an opportunity at Q school
Right.
and you earn your way onto either Corn Ferry or the PGA Tour. Um, so I think it's a it's difficult for sure. Like the pyramid just keeps getting smaller of
Yeah.
the amount of people that are and the talent level that's out there. So it's going to be difficult. I think anyone that goes into professional golf and thinks it's going to be easy is naive and they just don't really understand it. But somebody's got to do it, right? And I know what I'm capable of,
Yeah.
and I just believe in myself in the long run and know that things will work out.
You have a caddy picked out. How does that work?
So if you when you play on Canada, you don't really need a caddy.
Okay.
I'm going to carry my own bag just because I've been doing it this whole semester for the qualifier.
Yeah.
So I'll do that, and then obviously the higher tour you get on, you start needing a caddy. There's a
Right.
couple people I have in mind, but they all currently have jobs, so that'll be an
Yeah.
interesting conversation.
Is that Rocco? You can jump in on this too. But is that when a player picks a caddy, is it like for me, if I this never would happen, but if I was going to be on tour, I always think about who would I pick? Like that's always a funny thing to think about. Like, am I going to pick someone who's just like a total golf nerd, or am I going to pick my buddy, kind of like Rocco was touching on, like my buddy who I know is going to calm me down, smart enough to figure out golf and knows golf, right? But for me, I feel like I would want someone that I am super comfortable with, like a buddy almost. That's a good golfer that knows the game. How would you two go about that?
It's kind of funny because I feel like I've had this conversation with a lot of people, but I'm more on your side with it. I feel like I would go two directions. I would either try to, I mean, if I'm on the top of amateur golf and there's someone open who has a lot of who has a career in caddying basically on tour and is open, I mean, I feel like that'd be a great option. Um, but I'd almost rather just have a friend on the bag.
Yeah.
Someone, obviously a golfer. I think that's important just to have a golfer that's a friend from back home, someone who probably played college golf. But
Yeah.
I don't know. It's kind of
It's a
it's
fun
kind of,
question.
yeah.
Palmer, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I'm kind of in the same boat. When I played in the two PGA Tour events, I had Coach
Yeah.
Handrigan caddy for me for the first one. Obviously, I'm comfortable around him. He knows the game well. And then my teammate Patrick Kelly from Notre Dame, he caddied for me in the RSM. So I felt the comfort was really important. Uh, I think there's a balance. If you've never played these golf courses, there are some caddies who have went through it before that certainly would be able to provide some advice. But at the
Sure.
end of the day, the most important thing is that you're out there having fun and that
Right.
you can trust your caddy, and no one better than that than one of your buddies or someone you know.
What was how are the tour events for you, Palmer? Obviously, that's an incredible feat already. What was that experience like?
Yeah, pretty fortunate to have that experience as an amateur.
Yeah.
I wish I would have played a little better. You can't always control the results, but I learned a lot from just watching the guys go about their business. You realize that like outside of maybe the top 20 in the world, these guys they're just golfers. Like they're
Yeah.
humans that they're just consistent. They don't do anything special. You can tell they've been doing it for a long time because they're pretty polished,
Yeah.
but they're not superhuman. Like I would say there's a couple guys in the top 10 in the world that can do things that other guys just can't.
Right.
But as a whole, like these guys they're just golfers. They're good at what they do, but it's nothing flashy. So it was kind of encouraging to see that like the gap's not that big in a
Yeah,
sense. You just got to get out there.
right. Just a matter of playing a lot and getting involved in those events and experiencing that type of level, right?
Yeah, totally.
What was it like? Forgive me if I know the big events like the AMs and, some of these big college events. Um, what was it like with the crowds? Were you able to calm yourself down pretty well, or is that something that doesn't bother you? What was that like?
Yeah, this my experience was probably a little different than Neil's because he played in the Masters, which obviously has a giant crowd. But Bermuda and the RSM both had pretty,
Mild.
they were just light crowds. They're pretty family friendly events, so
Yeah.
people were there just to have a good time at the event. There were a lot of kids around, which was really cool.
Right.
But no, I didn't really feel any pressure. If anything, it just raises your level of focus and you seem to
Okay.
play better. I think Rocco would agree. When we've had cameras on us this semester, it's like exciting. I mean, you
Yeah,
get a chance to show off, so it's pretty cool.
no doubt. Rocco, what are your thoughts? Obviously, with you guys making it to Carlsbad last week, I was watching on my TV. That'd have been pretty cool for you, Rocco, to have the cameras out there.
Yeah, I mean that was our third time this semester being on
Right.
TV. So it was pretty cool. I think definitely the first time in American Dunes, like no one really realizes how close the cameras are to you. I mean, you're over your shot and you can see the microphone right in front of you. Like it's just, I mean, it was just different. It's really cool.
I'm gonna give you some space, huh?
Yeah, it's
Jeez.
not even like the space. It's just like, wow, like this is real. Like
Yeah.
this shot could be on TV. Like I knew you kind of just think like, okay, all my buddies are back home watching, like they know it's on TV and
Awesome.
it's pretty cool. It's cool to show what you work so hard for day in and day out. It's pretty cool to show that on TV.
No doubt. And that, forgive me for forgetting this, but you guys are at St. Andrews this year. What the heck was that like? That had to have been incredible. Is that your first time in St. Andrews? And what was that like? I watched that one on TV myself.
Yeah, it was. That was a pretty awesome experience. Our
Yeah.
team was over there for 8 or 9 days. Um, it was really cool. Obviously, links golf. Like I've never played links golf, and there's obviously links golf in the States, but it's
Yep.
nothing like over there. It was something that we couldn't really practice for, especially the weather. We had some pretty wild weather while we were over there. The whole
That's what
town
it's all about.
closed for like 2 days
Mhm.
because of how crazy the rain was. But
You obviously seem to be a Lynx fan then, tied for seventh. You know, you,
I enjoyed it. Yeah. I thought the golf course played pretty good. We
yeah,
played Jubilee for the stroke play, so I thought Jubilee was great. I thought the old course was solid. It was fun.
so cool, man. That's a bucket list for every golfer, and the fact that Notre Dame gave you guys that opportunity. I mean, that's awesome. I mean, if I'm a recruit and I see that those schools that all went there, but Notre Dame, I think does more than every other school beyond sports and preparing you in life. But just that fact alone for recruits, that's awesome. So cool.
Mhm.
Palmer, what was your thoughts? Have you been out there to play before that or
No, no, I'd never been out there. Played links golf in the States,
right?
but
Okay.
it's like Rocco said, it's way different. Um, I think it's cool how the courses are kind of routed where generally like 1-9 goes out and 1-9 comes back, and the
Hmm.
wind direction is so strong and severe that just feels like two different golf courses generally. The
Yeah.
greens are a lot slower over there just because it's so windy, but you can hit these crazy shots. It's like, oh my gosh, I can't believe I just hit an 8 iron from 80 yards and it never left the ground. But no, it was so much fun. To do that with the team was incredible.
Oh, you guys had
Yeah.
memories to last for a lifetime.
I
Yeah.
would say some of the greatest experience over there was kind of outside of golf.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Obviously, the golf side was great, but just being able to enjoy the town with your teammates and um, I just enjoying the culture over there. I know I had never been out of the I've been to Canada, but out of the country
Yeah.
and so it was pretty awesome just going around and walking through the town and just enjoying the greatest. I mean,
I'm
it's
a
like
golf.
the golf capital of the world. Yeah.
Mhm.
That's guys like me. We dream of a guys trip out there. That's where I'm at. I'm not gonna get to play in front of cameras ever, but we'll get the boys trip out there. That's my goal. It seems incredible.
Yeah.
Mhm.
But all right, guys, we'll just wrap up with some fun questions. Obviously, you two have had some great experiences. Rocco, you have many more ahead of you with Notre Dame. Palmer, professional world's coming. I want to go through your top three golf courses that you've played, each of you, It could be across the country. We'll keep it domestic, not overseas, just domestically. And then I'm going to follow that up with your top 3 Pittsburgh courses.
All right.
All right. So
I can start with the national one because for some reason I had a feeling you were going to ask that, and I was
let's
already
go.
thinking about it.
You were ready?
Yeah.
All right.
Unfortunately, our lists are probably pretty similar, but
That's all right.
we'll do it anyway. So my freshman year and this spring, we got to play Augusta National, and yeah, unbelievable,
Let's go.
unreal. So that's my number one. The back nine there is the best 9 holes I've ever played.
Really? Just hands
Yeah,
down.
it's incredible. I mean, every hole except for maybe 14 or 17 would probably be the signature hole on a course. And there's 7 of them on 1-9.
That's
It's
insane.
unbelievable. So that's number one. I got to go with Oakmont at number two. I've
All
never
right.
played a course that's such a big challenge,
Yeah.
but as a high quality player, it's so much fun because it's like pass fail. You either get a good shot or you don't. Um, and then number three, I'll go with Pebble Beach.
Yeah.
I just thought the walk out there was played in the USAM in 2018 out there, and it was unbelievable. Just such a good experience. Doesn't even feel like you're on a golf course.
Really.
Um, yeah, so if anyone's thinking about going out there, you really should. I know it's expensive, but if you
Do
get
it.
the opportunity, you have to do it. It's
All right.
incredible.
What was it when you were at Pebble and I knew that you were in the AM there, and what was it like? What club did you shoot on the 108-yard par 3 downhill? How was the wind that day, and what did that look like? I know you played it a few times, but
Yeah, I remember the pin was back right, and I think it was somewhere near 105 yards. And that green can be pretty spinny at times, especially because the tee's so
yeah.
elevated. So I had to flight. I think I flighted like a 50-degree wedge.
Okay.
Hit 10 feet. So
Sweet.
yeah, it was cool.
There's some stories of I remember DJ said he shot like a 6-iron one time because the wind was so absurd coming back at him. And I was just like, that hole is insane. It's obviously one of the top holes in golf, but all right, those are pretty good, Rocco. What do you got? Obviously, we'll say I'm sure Augusta's up there for you.
I have the same exact list as Palmer, but to make it
That's fine. We'll get into the Pittsburgh
a little
ones.
bit more interesting, I'd put Wingfoot up there too.
Oh, nice.
Wingfoot's got to be one of the hardest golf courses I've ever played.
Yeah.
There's pristine conditions. They're super high rough, really good greens, good routing. It's just
Yeah.
spectacular golf course. But I mean, Augusta and Oakmont are pretty hard to beat, in my opinion.
How many times have you guys played Oakmont each?
Rock, you've probably played it hundreds of times. I've maybe played it 20 times. I've played well out there. I think my low might be like 70 in a tournament. So I was pretty proud of that. But
Yeah,
that
you
place
should be.
kicks you around and beats you up.
Oh,
Yeah.
man.
Yeah, I've been fortunate enough to play Oakmont a good bit.
What's your best there, Rocco?
My best from the green tees is 68.
Damn.
It's two under from all the way back.
That's amazing.
Last summer.
That's amazing. Okay, you can't say Oakmont and you can't say the home club that you grew up on. What are your top 3 courses in Pittsburgh? Sorry, Palmer. No Hannistown.
Well, number one was about to be Hannistown.
Yeah, no Hannistown.
Um,
That's a great course, by the way.
so you said no Oakmont either?
No, I want to kind of make it for our listeners and everyone.
Laurel Valley won.
Let's go.
Yeah, that's
I just
that's
played it the
big.
first time last week, boys, and it was an unbelievable experience for me. I'm like a 10. I'm a good average golfer, like for the normal guy that goes out. But
Mhm.
that place was magical. Like, what a great spot. I mean, pretty sweet.
It's incredible. The last, I would say 5 or 6 years, they've put a lot of effort into the golf course.
Yeah.
And they've firmed it up and it's gotten faster and it's just
Right.
a lot of fun to play.
They took out a ton of trees too. I'm
Yeah.
sure you've heard.
That's
but
what they were saying. Yeah. And I
on
played
18,
well there.
you used to never be able to see the clubhouse.
Yeah, I was out there and they were telling me, see, this used to all be trees. And I'm like, thank God they're not, because I played well. I mean, for me, I shot 79 and that was awesome for me. I think the caddy and everyone, I was just in like my zone. I was like, I've never experienced this. This is so cool. But they were like, this used to be all trees. This used to be, I was like, well, I'm glad there's not. I'm lucky. I'm getting lucky here.
They cleared a ton of trees out. It looks great.
Yeah. All right. So Laurel Valley.
So Laurel's number one for me too.
Okay.
Number two, I'm gonna go with Pittsburgh Field Club.
Great.
Fox Chapel's awesome as well. Field Club edges them out for me just because I've had a lot of experiences out there. I played in the Frank B. Fuhrer tournament
Yeah.
4 or 5 times. And I think the par threes on the back nine out there are all championship level holes. I
Yeah.
know 18's a par three, and there have been various memories there with the Fuhrer event and someone holing out, making a hole in one in a playoff
Yeah.
to win 40 grand and win the Fuhrer. Like that's unbelievable.
Absurd.
But I always enjoyed going there, and like the first hole's on top of the hill, you can see the whole course. They keep it in great shape, good
Yeah.
facilities. So that's number 2 for me.
That first hole might be the best hole, first tee shot in Pittsburgh. Honestly, it's pretty
Mhm.
spectacular.
It's really cool. Yeah.
I'm gonna be honest. I've never played in the Fuhrer. Obviously very good friends with the Fuhrer family, but I just basically wasn't old enough. Um,
Mhm.
I'm gonna say FCGC Fox Chapel. Number 2 for me. I think that golf course is just awesome. I love the design. Um,
Yeah.
really fun to play.
All right, third. Anyone? You guys got a three?
Rock, you want to go? There's a lot of candidates.
Yeah, there is a lot of candidates.
I'll go. I'm gonna go off the board a little bit here. I'm gonna go public golf.
Let's go. I was just
I'm gonna
gonna say
go.
that.
I'm gonna go with Totter Ridge out in Greensburg. If you're just looking for a normal round to go out and play, like that place is awesome.
So sick. I love Totter.
It's hard, but you can make some birdies, and I think the vibe out there is cool. It's a big
Yeah.
property. You got a bunch of hills. You got some slopes on the greens. Just a fun place to go play. Grew up playing there a little bit as well, so that
Your
place is
backyard, right? Kind of near where you grew up
kinda, yeah,
a little
yeah.
bit.
It's like the closest public course other than like closest highly regarded public course other than Murraysville and Meadowink, which is
Yeah.
I live literally right there. So Totter's number 3 for me.
That's one of my top ones. I love Totter, just with my buddies. I mean, it's a great course. I mean,
Mhm.
it's really nice. Do you still have the course? Did I know? Do you still have the course record at Meadowink?
I do. It's gonna get broken someday. Hopefully it's me breaking it,
Yeah, I
but
was gonna say by you.
62 is not gonna stand out there for very long, so I might have to get to work on that.
Might have to get over there when you're back home and just go play a quick 18 and break it.
Yeah. No, it's fun.
That's awesome. Rocco, let's keep that in the same boat as you. Let's do
Um,
public course.
I like Totter Ridge. Um, public golf course.
What part of Pittsburgh are you from, Rocco? I know you
I'm
went
from
to Central.
Canonsburg, just
Oh,
out of the
you
city.
said that. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Lindenwood's right near me.
Wood, yeah.
Um,
That's been getting better and better each year, by the way. It looks
yeah,
good each
definitely.
year.
I was gonna say St. Clair for third.
That's one of the most popular ones. People love St. Clair.
I just played there yesterday.
Did you?
Yeah, the routing's okay. I think the greens it's always in spectacular shape.
Yeah. St.
The
Clair's
greens
top.
yesterday, I mean, we've gotten a ton of rain and the greens were like 13s yesterday, so
Wow.
it's
People love St. Clair, especially lately. I don't know. Everyone keeps talking about it.
yeah.
That's awesome.
It's a fun golf course to play. PA Opens there this year. So
That's awesome. Let's
yeah.
guys, this has been fun. Hopefully you enjoyed it. I know it's the first time, so forgive me for any mishaps, but I enjoyed talking to both you guys, and I know this is the start of something that I myself and my company, who has a lot of pull in Pittsburgh, will be able to push this brand, and with the help of you guys, we'll be able to do that. And social media is a big thing, so feel free, if you haven't followed already, follow the Going Low.
Yeah, this has been really fun. Keep in touch, but let us know if you ever need anything or if we can help in any way.
Awesome.
Rocco and I have a decent platform given that we're college golfers. I'm going to be professional, so anything we can do to help, just let us know.